Hi, my name is Darren Joseph from HGJ.tax, and we're the team that seeks to demystify a sometimes confusing world of international tax.
And today I want to talk about the ranking of offshore financial centers. In previous videos, we have defined what a financial center is. We've defined what an offshore financial center is. We're very specific. We're using the IMF definition. This is a definition from the International Monetary Fund. Now I want to talk about how are they ranked. Sometimes it feels like it's either like a high school popularity contest. Well, my offshore financial center, the one that I use or advocate, is more popular than yours. It has more likes on social media. There are more promoters online that talk about it and try to push it. How else do people use it? It seems to be really arbitrary, which is fine. You can look for the financial center with the most likes or the most promoters on TikTok, which is quite valid. Nobody should be able to tell anyone how to make a choice. For those who want to approach it in a more sophisticated way, let's have a look at that. First and foremost, there are actually indices or rankings. And of course, I would be shy about rankings that are done by institutions where there may be an obvious conflict of interest. For example, it's a ranking done by a promoter who is promoting certain jurisdictions over the other, or a promoter that's only based in one of the financial centers. Well, obviously every ranking they're going to put the financial center in which they are located as number one. Basically, you're looking for rankings that don't have a horse in the race, so there's no obvious conflict of interest. But having said that, I'm not advocating one index over the other. I'm just throwing it out there. The three that I look at would be the Global Financial Centers Index, which is, I believe that they are based in London, but the institutional partners who put it together are not solely in London. I think half of them would be in China. So there's some minor check or balance, but it's still, everything is relative and everything is based on opinions rather than hard metrics. But it is there, the Global Financial Centers Index. The next one is CEO World. They put out an interesting index. Again, things are relatively subjective. It is what it is. And a third ranking would be the Secrecy Index from TGN, which is the Tax Justice Network. Again, it depends on what you're looking for and it depends on what's important to you. But I find it interesting to read their counterpoints. They present a counter narrative to the other two indices that I mentioned. By pulling them together, it presents a more balanced scorecard as you seek to understand the overall ranking. So as you determine, based on your needs or the needs of your clients, what is the right financial center, I think the obvious things to consider would be obviously the tax structure, the reputation, and the regulatory compliance. And what I mean by that is there are quite a number of popular financial centers, but they may be on so-called blacklists or lists of non-cooperative jurisdictions, which is not just a reputational stain, but sometimes it comes with real tax and compliance consequences to having a structure that touches on any of those jurisdictions. And I mentioned that in particular when it comes to those who are doing business with or through Europe. They take those blacklists very, very seriously. And for those that are not, then be prepared for a more painful experience when it comes to international banking. You're also looking at legal and political stability. Obviously, political stability is super important with an offshore financial center. You're looking at the quality of service providers. If it is, we know who the top law firms are in the world. We know what the top consulting firms are in the world. We know what the top accounting firms are in the world. And let's say the blue blood or the high-end players, they tend to prefer certain jurisdictions over others. And if they tend to veer towards some jurisdictions and are not as enthusiastic about others, then you would have a problem with the talent pool. And the talent pool may, in some jurisdictions, may be a bit shallow and definitely lacking, and especially those unregulated jurisdictions where there's not necessarily strong licensing requirements. You can be looking at less than scrupulous players, because part of what you're looking for is you're looking for the jurisdiction to help you do the job. You don't want to have to vet service providers. Not on your own, you are going to vet them, but you don't want to be the only one vetting service providers. You would like it if the jurisdiction helps you do that. And if the jurisdiction is 100% unregulated, and any TikToker could be doing whatever you want with that jurisdiction, understand that you may be swimming at sharks, which is fine, but heads up. Other things you're looking at would be time zones, languages, because some jurisdictions, there are language constraints. Obviously, if you're looking at this video, maybe you're a native English speaker, you're comfortable in English. Some of the popular jurisdictions right now, their primary language is not English. Yes, they may provide translated documents, but some parts of the process are not translated into English. And if you work with service providers, they can give you an indicator as to which jurisdictions I'll be talking about. And last but not least will be the cost and the ease of doing business. Some of them, yes, they may have low headline rates when it comes to corporate tax, but when you add in the compliance burden, not just the difficulty of dealing with that jurisdiction, having to have every single document attested by institutions that they delegate only, which come at a premium cost, you'd realize that what you have is, let's say, deceptive pricing, and what we would call in the business shadow taxes or secret taxes. So the headline tax rate may be low, but when you throw in the compliance burden, whether it be annual audits, they're specifying which service providers you should use for attestations, which come at a premium price, etc., the effective tax rate might be much higher than what you were told initially on that glossy brochure. In short, for those who are qualified and experienced, I'm not going to say anything other than what you would have expected. There is no one list of the best offshore centers. One size does not fit all. There's no perfect financial center. Depending on your business model, depending on your use case, one structure is going to be more appropriate than the other. It really, really depends. And as a word of caution, anyone who comes around saying that their jurisdiction is the best no matter what, I would approach that with caution, because one size cannot fit all. My name is Darren Joseph from HEJ.tax.